First rain here in Paris. Feels like home. Today I went to the Musée d'Orsay. It's probably the second most famous museum in Paris, and with good reason. Originally an old train station, the building is huge with a big domed ceiling and huge clocks all over. I got there early, but it was still already full. The entrance hall is full of a lot of statues, and then there are exhibits off to the sides. A lot of the smaller exhibits on the first floor are less known and therefore more empty. I preferred those to the really full exhibits upstairs. One of the big draws is the Impressionist exhibit. It features Monet, Manet, Renoir, and many others. It was really beautiful. Particularly Monet's paintings, it's really nice to just stand in front of them and look at them for a really long time. You take in a lot more of the detail and artistry that goes into a piece like that. Upstairs is an exhibit on post-impressionism. The big draw for this one is quite a few pieces of Van Gogh, mainly his self-portrait. I, however, was really drawn to the painting of his bedroom. When I was in elementary school, we did a section in art class on Van Gogh, and we recreated this piece. It was really interesting to see it in real life. I find with Van Gogh, my favorite pieces are from the point in his life where he was drawing things all wobbly. There's a couple pieces like a really tall house or a landscape of a village where he uses dark, thick black lines and many different colors, and none of the lines are straight. I found those really interesting, but it was difficult to stand in that exhibit because it was so packed. You always kind of felt like you were in someone's way, and I found myself moving from painting to painting more quickly than I would have liked. One of my favorite things in the museum is this huge ballroom with gold all over and big chandeliers. It was so pretty. I just wanted to waltz around and drink champagne in big pretty dresses. I think I would have really loved to live in that time. Another really interesting feature was the Shadow Puppet Theater. The Shadow Theater was featured in the Chat Noir Arts Club and was a huge draw at the time. A narrator would sit in front of a screen and improvise the script to a story. The puppeteers behind the screen would use the puppets to cast shadows on a white sheet to portray the characters of the story. It was really advanced for its time, and a lot of the technology used helped to influence theater in modern times. What I found really interesting was a lot of the big artists at the time all knew each other. They all lived in Paris, hung out at the same cafes, bars, and clubs, and shared ideas. It makes me wonder whether the clubs like the Chat Noir would be able to exist in current times. I've personally noticed a huge decline in attendance at live events, such as live music in Vancouver. I don't know if something so different would last. I like to think it would. I think I would really enjoy something like that. I wish I knew more about art history. It seems like one of those topics that really fancy people talk about along with politics and poetry. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but I planned a mini tour that I'm doing on Sunday. I booked flights and hostels in Brussels, Berlin, Munich, and Geneva. So I'm going to be traveling around for about a week and a half, staying 3 days in each place. I'm really excited. I've always wanted to visit those places, and I want to get as much in before I start school as possible. I'm also registered for classes now, which is really exciting. The days seem like they're going to be pretty long. Classes run quite late here, but they're only an hour and a half long each, so it shouldn't be too bad. I have classes Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then one class on Thursdays. So I get my Fridays off. That's how I do it back home as well. Keeping it all condensed together is really helpful. I find I'm more likely to not go to a class if it's the only class that day, but I guess we'll see how it goes. I just hope I still have time to keep exploring while I'm here, because that's really the point. But I'm gonna go make myself some dinner because I am starving after my long day of walking around. See you later!